Okay, good afternoon and welcome to our November 12th, 2020 community update. As many of you may know, we held a special board meeting last night so that our administration could provide an update regarding our COVID-19 situation. And so today we're going to spend a little bit of time to share some of that information with you. But before I do that, I want to, like we do each week, start off with some of our MISD proud moments. Yesterday, as you're aware, was Veterans Day, and we love to honor all of those who have served and who continue to serve. And so traditionally, our campuses have had community events, but unfortunately this year, due to our circumstances with COVID, they all had to be creative in the way that they honored their veterans. And so there's several videos that were put together from each of our campuses. And so you can search our hashtag MISD Proud, and you can see some of the products that were produced there on our campuses. Great job by many of our staff and many of our students in putting those together. Also, if you search that hashtag, you'll see that Walnut Grove Middle School is doing some shout outs regarding our cultural tenets, specifically focusing on honoring relationships. And so students are sharing some great quotes about their teachers. So I encourage you to go out there and check those out. Also want to congratulate our Midlothian High School band for their outstanding performance this past weekend. They performed at the marching contest in Mesquite, and they earned a first division rating in all areas. So congratulations to our MHS band. So as you can see, and I know there's many other things we could celebrate, and if you'll go out there and search that hashtag MISD Proud, you'll see many celebrations on our campuses. And so even during the midst of the challenges that we face within COVID, our teachers, our principals, our coaches, and our students continue to focus on excellence and continue to just achieve many great things. So I want to celebrate all the things happening in our district. So before we begin with our update specifically on COVID that we presented last night, it's really going to be a lot of facts and figures, and then some of our processes and even some things that we've updated. I want to state up front, because I know there's been a lot of rumors out there, a lot of conversation that may have come from the fact that we did a workshop just around COVID. But just want to let you know that there is no plan right now to transition to complete remote learning the week after Thanksgiving until Christmas. So I think there's been some confusion about that. I know a lot of our college students are coming back, and a lot of changes have happened with some of our higher education situations, but there is no plan right now within MISD to switch to remote learning at any point between now and Thanksgiving or Thanksgiving to Christmas. So that doesn't mean that if our situation changes or we see an increase number of cases or something warrants us making that decision, it doesn't mean that we wouldn't do that. But right now there is no plan. Our board has not looked at that or considered that, and we as administration have not necessarily considered that happening or made that announcement. So at this point, I'm going to turn it over to Dr. Carpenter, and she's going to bring you up to date on some of the things that have current data and then some of the things that have changed. Dr. Carpenter.
All right. Good afternoon, MISD. I'm going to share my screen and share with you some of the slides that we talked about last night in the board meeting. Let me get that up here. All right. Okay, so yes, just to give you some of the facts and figures of where we currently are, I also want to just give you a real quick definition that we use for close contact. It is part of our TEA public health guidance. TEA uses the CDC and the American Academy of Pediatrics to work through their definition and to align that. Back in October, the CDC updated their close contact definition so that it was more of an approximate 15 minutes throughout the course of a day. Just to clarify, MISD has been doing that since we opened our buildings on September 8th. We have been using approximately 15 minutes throughout the course of a day. So when we're doing our interviews and working through those processes for contact tracing, our nurses are asking and our principals are asking, and sometimes it might be 5 minutes here or 2 minutes there, but they are working through that definition. So just wanted to clarify that. And I'm going to talk a little bit more in just a moment about the methods for contact tracing. So really right now what our campuses are currently doing and have been since school started September 8th face-to-face is we require those masks K through 12 with additional plexiglass in classrooms, social distancing and plexiglass at lunch, and making sure so when students take their masks off to eat, we have those protocols in place. And then also just that enhanced cleaning and disinfecting piece. We continue to work daily in partnership with Dr. Nordstrom, our Ellis County Health Authority, in addition to Texas Education Agency, who also aligns all of their requirements and guidances from the CDC, as I mentioned earlier, American Academy of Pediatrics, and also the Governor's Strike Force. A little bit of data that kind of back in the month of October, 4 of our 13 campuses did not have a test confirmed case reported at all in the month of October. And you'll see there Urban, Baxter, McClatchy, and Miller. 2 more of our 13 campuses did not have a test confirmed case after the first week of October, and that was Petoskey and Mountain Peak. But since November 1st, we've had 12 of our 13 campuses have at least 1 test confirmed case. And then Petoskey continues, as through the data sets last night, to have no test confirmed cases since the first week of October. Additionally, in the event of a COVID test confirmed case on campus, the campus principal is going to send a letter to the entire campus as required by the Texas Education Agency. We will not directly or indirectly identify any student or staff member within those notifications. The contact tracing immediately begins and is completed by our nurses and administrators. Those methods include interviews with students, with teachers, with coaches, with directors, whomever, sponsors, whomever is involved. We also have the opportunity sometimes to look at camera footage if necessary. We have seating charts that we require in all areas, whether it be the classroom, buses, locker rooms, all of those areas where students could potentially be congregating. And that is led by our district nurse, Judy Fiorenza, our campus nurse teams, and our campus administration. And we believe that's extremely important, that that's a consistent contact tracing effort. And so we're very glad to have Ms. Fiorenza leading that charge because she works directly with those campuses to keep that consistent. Also, parents are then notified by phone if it's determined that their child was in close contact, and then that student is transitioned to remote learning for the incubation period. And letter 2 is sent out to those parents after that phone call has been made. So just a little data we shared last night at the board meeting. You will see here on the right of the screen, that's the district dashboard. It's available to anyone via our website. It's updated by 5 o'clock every day. Those are real active numbers. You will see number of students on campus. Those are the number of face-to-face learners that are full-time face-to-face, number of staff on campus, total active number of test confirmed cases on the campus, and then the percent of the active test confirmed cases on that campus. From a district perspective, you also have a total number of MISD staff and a total number of our full-time face-to-face enrolled students. And you'll see here that as a staff, across the district as a staff, we're at 1.2% as of yesterday and 0.9% as a student body for our total face-to-face enrolled students, as our district average is just under 1%. Our highest campus percentage to date has been 2.4%, but you'll see on our tracker, our dashboard, that no campuses are currently above that as of yesterday. Another interesting piece of fact and data that we like to share, we shared last night, we do have virtual students in our secondary campuses that do come to campus for an extracurricular activity or a face-to-face required course. We currently have 1,421 secondary virtual learners, and 1,123 of those actually come to campus for 1 or more courses and activities each day. So if you were to add those students into the face-to-face numbers on the dashboard, you will see that adds quite a few more students that actually interact on campus on a daily basis, but they may be doing the majority of their coursework virtually. And so that even changes the percent of active cases on campus and brings that down, because we do have a large group of students coming to campus for some activity or face-to-face required course throughout the day, even though they're not a full-time virtual, or a full-time face-to-face learner. Again, we shared last night a trend graph over time. This starts from 9/8, which was the date we opened our doors face-to-face. You will see here a line graph that's showing the number, that basically the new cases each day. The stars represent Mondays. And the reason that we wanted to point those out is a Monday, whenever the Monday data goes up on the dashboard, it actually includes any positive cases that we are notified about after business hours on a Friday, so 5 p.m. Friday evening and on, all day Saturday, all day Sunday, and all day Monday up until that 5 o'clock time. So you will see there that those stars represent 3 full days and then the Friday evening data. So if you wonder there why there might be more cases on a Monday, and obviously you're also receiving more letters on a Monday, it's because it is collecting several days worth of data. You will see as of yesterday, we were down to 7 new cases yesterday. And as of today, right now, we are at 2 new cases. Process modifications to date. So we have been working directly with the Ellis County Health Authority. Dr. Nordstrom, as I mentioned earlier, she was actually on the board meeting call last night. If you haven't had a chance to see that, you can go back and watch that live recording. We have made temporary participation modifications to our face-to-face learning and extracurricular activities thus far. We have a tiered system for extracurriculars. That goes into fine arts. It also goes into athletics. And to date, there have been some programs that have been suspended because of localized, what Dr. Nordstrom might deem community spread. And so we're trying to get a handle on that. So to date, we have actually closed a middle school 7th grade boys athletics for an incubation period, a middle school cheer squad, a middle school 7th grade girls athletics, a high school 9th grade football team, a theater group, and then we've also suspended some individual games and scrimmages due to a timeline to contact trace. So all of those pieces are put together, and we are working through those individually as the needs arise. But those are some areas to date that we have actually had to suspend for a incubation period of time. And then we've also had to suspend 2 classrooms at a secondary campus. In addition, beginning during the week of November 3rd, last week, we did have a higher daily average of test confirmed cases. So to strengthen our mitigation efforts this past Monday, we are automatically transitioning all close contact exposed students to virtual learning for the incubation period. And those parents, they receive this information directly from the campus via a phone call and a letter too. In addition, secondary students deemed close contact exposed are automatically removed from any and all extracurricular activities for that incubation period and not allowed to participate during that time. We do have an opportunity if a student is deemed close contact. TEA does require that you provide instruction on campus to that student, and you can do so in an isolated area. So close contact data from September to November, it's important for us to share that we have deemed 247 students close contact by definition at school, and only 11 of those have tested positive. So by our records, 6 of those students that tested positive that were deemed close contact actually quarantined for the entire 14 days. And 5 others did not necessarily quarantine the entire time. So we have a pretty low percentage of student close contact exposures actually testing positive. In collaboration with other districts, we have been looking at this as the other districts has as well, because there is a concern of automatic transition to virtual learning if the data doesn't support it, just because of the learning disruption for students transitioning back and forth frequently on SEL and an academic progress. Therefore, our automatic transition to virtual learning could be a temporary solution, just really depending on the need during this time of active cases. But we will continue to track this data and are looking to put this on our dashboard as well. So really our continuous decision-making process, we're continuously assessing and adapting. I mentioned earlier, in collaboration with our local health authority, we look at staffing coverage, whether or not if we're having a staffing issue on a campus. We look at location and density of positive cases in a particular area of a campus or program. We look at how widespread those positive cases seem to be occurring. Most often we can find connections and we're able to work through those connections. And then a shutdown could be considered in a variety of ways. I mentioned we had already done some up to this point. It could be a particular classroom. It could be a particular grade level. It could be a specific program, as you saw in an earlier slide, or it could be a campus, or it could be the district. But we have, as a last resort, we would work our way up that chain. We are really looking at trying to minimize the disruption on face-to-face learning as much as possible. Dr. Ledbetter, I'll turn it back over to you.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Carpenter. And thank you to all of our staff who have been managing this challenge. As you can imagine, it has been a 24/7 job. And I can't thank Dr. Carpenter and Dr. Heathcote. Dr. Hemley's been very much involved in this, as well as I believe Dr. Carpenter mentioned Miss Judy Fiorenza, as well as just our campus staff. We have teachers and many other principals and many other individuals involved in the tracking and monitoring of this. And of course, our communications department from sending out the letters. There's just so many people that have been involved in implementing this process. And so we feel like it's been somewhat effective, and we feel good about where we are with respect to at least managing it and monitoring it. And certainly we are open to making modifications as we need to, as we go through this. In fact, we've had conversations with many parents. And of course, we stay in contact with all the public health officials and variety of individuals throughout the county and other counties as well, and certainly other school districts. So we're very much managing this on a day-to-day basis. But just want to remind you that as we move forward, we may have to make some very difficult decisions. As Dr. Carpenter mentioned, we've had to shut down some programs and adjust some things in classes. Depending on where we go with the level of cases and what our advice and recommendations are from our public health official, we may have to make some continued decisions with programs, may impact some games, may impact some performances and that type of thing as we move forward. We don't like to make those decisions and we don't want to have to make those decisions, but I can assure you, like I've always done on these meetings, and what I hope our actions have shown, is that our number one priority is going to be the safety and health of our students in this district. And so if we have to do some things to keep our kids safe, we're going to make that the priority, and we will make those tough decisions. So just want you to be aware as we move forward that we will continue to monitor that and put our kids in the best situation possible based on the advice and information that we have from others that we're consulting with. So if you have questions or comments about any of this, please feel free to reach out to your child's campus, reach out to the principals. They're very much in the loop on all of this and know our processes and procedures. If you have questions for us that you would like answered, you can certainly email us at the info@misd.gs, and you can find that on our website as well. So that's all we have for today. Hope the information was valuable, and I hope you have a great rest of your afternoon.